Okay. I'd like to welcome everyone to the Kaysville Power Commission meeting this evening. As always, I'd like to ask someone to do our opening ceremonies.
I could do it.
Okay, thanks, Jordan.
Yep. Our dear Heavenly Father, we're so grateful to have the opportunity to meet and to discuss the matters before the Power Board this evening, and we pray that we might make wise decisions and do what is best for the citizens of Kaysville, and these things we pray for in the name of Thy Son, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. Okay, and then we'll do introductions, and then when we get to the new board members, maybe we just have everyone, so since we're introducing ourselves to them as well. Maybe Jordan,
sure.
Tell a little bit about your
background.
More
than my name.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. Sounds good. Yep, Jordan Stevenson. I have been in the utility industry for 8 years. I worked for the gas utility here in the state. Mm-hmm. Started in accounting and then went into regulatory work. So we do the filings with the Public Service Commission. As an investor-owned utility, they help us not raise our prices too much in the winter. And a little different from this being a municipal utility, I feel like we're almost kind of like the Public Service Commission in a way, reviewing things. So that's my background. Been on the board now for a couple years, which is hard to imagine. So time goes quick.
Thanks, Jordan.
All right, so I'm a new member of the commission. My name is Brent Dusnup. My background is in the energy industry and also in banking. So I spent a couple of years early on in my career with the Western Area Power Administration for the U.S. Department of Energy in Salt Lake. And then spent about 14 and a half years with Goldman Sachs in the financial industry here in Salt Lake City. Everything ranging from compliance and regulatory types of things to operational management. And then after leaving Goldman Sachs, I actually spent a couple of years with Pacific Corp here in Salt Lake doing a regional business management role, which is basically interfacing with communities and large industrial customers. So came back into the industry from that perspective. So I can definitely appreciate a lot of what Jordan was talking about. And then a couple of months ago, moved back into the banking industry. I now work for an organization called Silicon Valley Bank. And I'm heading up that effort in the Salt Lake City office. So that's me. Awesome.
Well, welcome aboard, and
yeah.
We're excited to see what we can put together as a committee here. So.
Looking forward to it.
Good.
Brock Thane. Background is I'm a PE electrical engineer by trade. Mm-hmm. So typical industrial designs, substation designs is what I grew up doing. Yeah. In and out of coal mines, and then moved into renewables. Been in the renewable space for about 11 years now, and I run the renewable energy group for all large-scale projects, C&I, distributed generation, those types of things.
Oh, cool.
So.
I'm Alan Farnes. I've worked for Bountiful City Light and Power for 41 years now.
Nice.
That's awesome.
Enough said.
Well said.
Kind of in a rut.
All right. I am Alan Quigley. I'm also a new member. I have also worked in banking. I worked for Goldman Sachs for about 4 years. Mm-hmm. I got out of Dodge real quick. I now work in solar. I'm a computer programmer for Vivint Solar. I do their inventory application that tracks the inventory throughout the stages of installation and purchase.
Cool.
I'm excited to be here.
Stroh DeCare, I'm the City Council liaison for the Power Commission. Prior to this, I was on Planning Commission, which is all things land use, for about 6 years or so, and been on City Council for 6-7 months or so now, and glad to be part of this organization. So it's good. It's good to see where things are going to go here as we move forward through this process, and you know, make things work and make things better for Kaysville. So got a great group of people here, so it's good. And then let me add too that so Krista Keach was also newly appointed. She was selected by the mayor and I, along with Brent and Alan, back a month or so ago. She unfortunately could not be here this evening. She had a prior work commitment, but she'll be here moving forward starting in March. So there we have it.
Awesome.
Yep.
Stacy Harward. I've worked for Kaysville City Power for 15 and a half years. Gary's boss, he just doesn't know it.
Correct.
So he doesn't know.
Yeah, he knows.
My name's Gary Hatch. I've been with Kaysville for 15 years. Prior to that, I was with another utility for 15 years. So I've been in the business about 30 plus years. And I am the fire department director, manager, superintendent, whatever you want to call me.
Okay, and I do know how Gary feels when I don't get the agenda in. She's my boss as well, so just so you know.
Right, yeah.
Sorry, threw that in there.
That's okay. Had to get it on record.
Yeah, that's right. So our mission statement, so, you know, as we're looking through this, we always like to really focus in on, you know, what our mission is and what our ideas are. And, you know, there'll be a lot of debates, but if we just fall back to this, then I think it's always sets our direction. So with that, we read it every time, and it's our mission statement is Kaysville City Power and Light's mission is to safely provide electricity with superior customer service at a competitive price to the residents and businesses in Kaysville City. So you guys have that on your meeting minutes in your packets there. So.
Yep.
So moving to the consent items, you also have the meeting minutes from January's meeting. So I was wondering if there's any changes or if we needed to do a motion to approve them. So
I mean, I think that we would look through all these, or at least the existing members and that and stuff, look through these. I didn't see anything wrong with any of them. I'll make a motion that we approve minutes from January 2019.
I'll second the motion.
all in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay. Okay, so the next one we have, if you look in the packet here, it has a list of everyone's contact info with their, with your term and when it expires. And then we also have the term for the election of the co-chair and chairman. So I just think we can throw that out. Who we think would be a good candidate. How it went down last time was I was the one that talked all the time.
So that's what.
So you
Just
got
a
it.
fair warning of how that went down. So, but I think we can do nominations and go from there and just kind of talk about it. So,
Brock, I'd say if you're open to continuing on, I think you're doing a great job. So I wouldn't mind having you continue with that.
I'll second that.
Yeah, I'll agree with that. Are you comfortable with that for another? I mean, sure, why not, right?
yeah,
I mean,
I'm completely fine as long as I'm not boring you with the agenda, because I push Stacy to really say, hey, as long as we're getting the agenda out there, I really want to make sure that we're serving you guys, right, and doing a good job for you guys.
Right.
So if everyone's okay with that, I'm completely fine with it. I just want to make sure. You know,
yeah.
sometimes after 2 years that you get bored and you're like, hey, sorry, Stacy, it's going to take me a few more minutes to get you an agenda.
The
But
agenda's not long enough.
yeah, so.
That's good. No objection here. I think that's fantastic.
Yeah. Yep, I'm okay with that. Absolutely. So, who's the vice chair, or do we have a vice chair? It's just you, right? That's
Yeah.
that's how it's
We
constructed.
had a
right?
vice chair, it was Sean.
Oh, that's right, Sean Choke. Okay,
Yeah.
right, but he left. Okay, right.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, I'm open to that, though. I mean, I think it might not be a bad idea to maybe, nominate and put somebody in the position of a vice chair, in case that Brock's not here and stuff, just to, that's the way it was with the planning commission and stuff. I served as a vice chair for over a year, and, I mean, that the vice chair is in charge of the meeting and driving the whole discussion and all that stuff if you can't make it or if something happens or whatever, you know. So I think it would be good to have a fallback, you know. So you know, probably either Alan or Jordan. I mean, somebody that's been here for a while and stuff, and that, you know, if either one of you two are comfortable with, you know, with serving in that capacity, I think that'd be a good thing. So, you know.
May I make a suggestion?
Yeah,
real quick?
absolutely. Yeah.
Since agreed upon on the chair, we probably need to take a vote on that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. you're
And then
right,
it
right.
does say in the bylaws that we do need a vice chair, so it would be recommended to appoint a vice chairman.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
Okay.
So I'll make the motion to appoint Brock as the chairman.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay.
So then, vice chair position, I mean, Alan or Jordan, you guys can play rock, paper, scissors.
Yeah,
Coin toss is in the bylaws, isn't it?
it should be a good concept.
So, I mean, whatever.
Alan, would you like to,
What?
would you be willing to?
Yeah.
I'd make a motion to have Alan be the vice chair.
Okay, I'll second that. Yeah.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Yeah. That was easy.
Yeah, really.
Yeah.
Arm wrestle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so calendar date reviews. Let's take a look at the calendar. I know there was 2 months that we had conflict on the first Tuesday, so let's just go through those real quick. Pull this up. So that would be March 5th, Tuesday, March 5th.
There was a conflict on that date?
No
okay,
conflict. I
okay.
think it was November and July, okay. So we'd go March 5th, and then we'd go April 2nd, and all these are at 7 p.m., excuse me. And then it would be May 7th.
So, all right, I'm behind here for a second. So April 2nd, right?
Mhm.
Okay, all
Yep.
right.
And then May 7th. And then June
June
4th.
4th.
And is there a conflict for July 9th? Is that what our recommendation would be?
No, July 2nd.
Okay.
Do you want to just cancel it, or do you want to move it?
I think we hold it, and then if we I think we book it, is what I
Yeah,
would say. And then
yeah.
if we get closer and want to cancel it,
Yeah, we
you've
can-
got the
yeah, we can
flexibility.
do that.
What's the conflict on the 2nd, if I may?
I think it's just
the holiday week,
the
just close to
holiday.
proximity.
Yeah.
Okay, that
Yeah.
makes sense.
So is everyone okay if we move it to the 9th and then just hold there?
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
Okay.
With that too.
Okay. And then it
Then we're
would
looking
be
at August 6th.
August 6th, yep. And then September 3rd.
That's the day after Labor Day.
Yeah, I was just gonna
So
say.
Just
Seven.
throwing that out there.
Yeah, we probably ought to push that one.
I'd-
September 10th, is that
Yeah.
okay?
Yeah, that's fine, sure.
Okay.
And actually, if I may, I'm not sure if this will be a conflict for everybody, but when we look at April 2nd, again, just as I'm thinking about it, that's the week of spring break for the schools. And
Oh, for the
so-
school district
Yeah,
in
and
Davis,
so if
yeah.
there are people who'll be out of town associated with that, I'm not sure if that's a reasonable conflict to raise or not, but just something to think about.
I think we could probably keep the 2nd penned and maybe
If we
move to
get
the
closer,
9th
yeah,
if we need to
yeah.
or something, maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, I won't be out of town that week, so, but,
I won't be.
I'm okay with that too. Okay. It'd be October 1st,
yeah.
and then November 5th does not work. So, November 12th? Does that work okay?
Yeah, I mean, for now, that's
Mhm.
quite a few months down the road, but,
Okay.
and then, what are we looking at, December 3rd?
December 3rd.
Yeah.
So I'll send out a calendar invite on those, and then I'll just put a hold in there.
Sure.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, so anything else on the calendar date review? I think maybe just add a few things to that. You know, I definitely do try to give Stacy as much time as I possibly can, and sometimes it works. Most of the time it doesn't, and I appreciate her getting through to me to make sure that I get it to her. But that being said, if there's an agenda item that you guys want to talk about, want to go through, just let us know, and we're more than happy just to add it to there. Yeah. And Stacy, will you add have you added them to the Dropbox?
Yes.
Okay, so you should have
Yeah, we're on
access
it.
to everything
Yep,
in there.
yeah, we're on it.
Okay. Okay. And so, yeah, and in there we have a list of upcoming topics. So if you want to move them up to, it was Jordan's recommendation to kind of go with what City Council does with consent, action, and work items. So, what we felt like was there was probably a lot of stuff to catch you up on, and we spent a lot of time going through like a tour and a bunch of things. So I'm kind of putting that on the calendar dates review just to kind of bundle everything. But Jordan has a financial model that he's put together that we've used for rates, and so there's a lot of back history. And I guess maybe Jordan and Alan, I kind of flip it to you guys to maybe walk through if there's something that you think that these guys and gals need to go through, to kind of get them up to speed. Is there some suggestions there that you'd say right away we'd want to go through?
Yeah, I think it would be a good idea to walk through kind of the history of the financial model and the rates. That was the big focus over the last little bit. And we're in the middle of transitioning right now. We'll hear about the metering project. But one thing we had recommended to the City Council and that they approved was that there will be a movement towards time of use rates once the net metering is, or not net metering, once the smart metering is all AMI exactly, all installed. So we're in the middle of kind of that transition period now. So I think it may be a good idea to review how we got to this point, what the decision making was. So.
Okay. Would you be okay with maybe
Yeah.
putting that as the next topic?
Sure.
Okay. What else?
And with that, maybe we even get the slides out that we had presented. You guys probably have already watched it if you wanted to join this. I don't know, maybe not. It's a little boring, but I can walk through those slides again.
Either way, I mean, if there's a reference point to one of the previous meetings where that was gone through, maybe that's something that we can do as well, right? Just to kind of
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point. Yeah, well, there's a YouTube. We can find the
they're
link.
out there, right? Yeah,
It's all on the website.
It went
I've watched
viral,
several.
millions of views.
Yeah, I've watched
Yeah,
several.
it's high traffic, I know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that would be helpful, I agree.
That's
And
a great idea.
I think explanation of, if I may, I would say, whether it's a tour, whether it's just kind of explanation of facilities, layout, footprint, just areas of focus, which I'm sure will come up as part of the meetings. I think it's just helpful for.
Yeah, to have that
For
knowledge
us.
and background.
Yeah, it gives a stepping off point, I think,
Yeah,
like
I
to
agree.
Jordan's point, it's a point of reference for you guys, the new
Correct.
guys and stuff and that, where you can take a look at it and go, oh, okay. I see the direction we're going here. I see what we've accomplished over the past several years, and moving forward, this is the way that we want to go.
Absolutely.
And, yeah,
Yep.
so, and it won't take you guys that long to sift through things and stuff, maybe in the evening or two, or, I know it's all riveting material.
It's a great bedtime read, right?
It's a good bedtime read, right, exactly. So, but, yeah, I think that'd be good for you guys to get up to speed and stuff and that, and
Certainly.
as we're going forward here, so. Because there's a lot of things that are going on here, really, that, it may not seem like it on the surface, but, there's a lot of power-related stuff that's going on here that we've got moving forward through this year and stuff too, and, so, but, yeah, it'll be good, so.
Okay. Okay, so I'm going to put the financial model for next time, Jordan, if you're okay with that.
Sure,
Plan
yeah.
on presenting that, and then from there, if you guys will just take a look at
Yeah.
the links and come with questions,
Absolutely.
and then,
I'll reach out to Krista too, and I'll send her an email, or I'll get in touch with her, and I'll let her know that, hey, it's going to be incumbent upon you to kind of take a look through and dig through the, the material and stuff and that, so she can be up to speed come March. So
Okay.
yeah, I'll do that. No worries.
awesome, thank you.
Yep.
And Alan, thoughts for you, things that you feel would be important?
When the weather's better, they might want to tour the system.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's kind of what I was referring to, right? It's a lot easier, I think, to have that understanding of kind of the baseline and some of the
Yeah.
concerns, right, Gary, that you're seeing, right, or that you're thinking about. It's one thing to speak about them in these meetings, right, but I think a lot of times it's helpful, particularly if people may not have some of the background, right, to really understand it.
Yep.
So.
And how we did that tour is we did a special meeting.
Mhm.
So maybe if we can look at the calendars, we had to do a special meeting, and we did it earlier. So I can't remember. I think it was 5. Is that what we did? 4 or 5?
We did it on a Friday, and I think we did it like at 6. It's like 5 or 6.
Okay.
We'll review and see what it was, and we can do a special meeting if that's what we need to do.
Okay. Maybe a recommendation from you too. What looking at this, if it's probably in April is my guess. So we'll do financial model for the 5th, and then the tour the 2nd. Something along those lines. If you're okay with that, we can move the day a little bit, but.
Definitely need good weather. So.
Okay, yeah. Okay, I'll put those down. So that's it. Anything else on calendar before I turn over time here to Gary? Okay, so one thing we wanted to do is have Gary give us an update on the metering project, where we're at, and also discuss, I'm gonna just pass this around so everyone can look at it while they're prepping, but this flyer. So with that, I'll turn the time to you, Gary.
Okay, thank you. This will probably be short and sweet. There's not much to update on other than the meters we installed. But last meeting we mentioned that we had 9,819 meters through the city. Last meeting we had completed 2,132 meters. That was roughly about 22% from the last meeting. From then until today, we have installed 2,942 meters, which is roughly about 30%. During that time frame, there's about 810 meters that we installed in that month. That is having multiple crews, multiple people installing them. As was mentioned last meeting, that could vary depending on the workload with the weather coming up, that it will definitely, more than likely, reduce down of how many we can install in a month due to other projects and contractors seeming that they need to get their stuff done too. So that could reduce. But as if we go right now and we are able to do 810 meters, I estimated it'd take about 8 or 9 months to install all our meters, and that would roughly put us around September, October. And when we received a outline of our installation project through Eaton, that's roughly when they indicated we'd be completed with our meters. That is if we can keep
On schedule.
everybody going as we are now. That's pretty much what I have for the update on the presentation. Presentation goes into more depth than the last council meeting.
Okay.
It did go in depth quite a bit. We were able to find more programs that are be very useful for us since then. It helps us out with customer service and individuals that dispute their bill.
Yeah.
So it's a very useful tool. We're finding more and more what it can do. Jeff, that presented the presentation last month, indicated on the temperature on the meters. I'd like to bring that up. We have found that that's a very useful tool. we had a meter that showed high temperature. And when we went out and investigated reason why, we found that one of the lugs, the back lugs where the wire connects to, was loose. So we were able to tighten that, and it saves, you know, customer service once again. Helps saves on them replacing the meter base or eventually burning up and causing a fire or an issue. So,
What model of meters are you putting in?
Itron,
Okay.
and they're Itron for single phase, and I think, I can't remember which one was the 3-phase yet, but majority of them are Itron.
Okay.
There, with the installation, if I may ask a question.
Yeah,
Mr. Quigley, okay. With the installation of the new meters, and obviously, like you're saying, it's a work in progress, have there been any issues with reads, with, you know, customer inquiries based on what's been billed or anything like that due to, I mean, it's new program, it's new meters, you can expect that there can be some bugs, that type of thing.
We had a few
Yeah.
that were cents. I mean, we're very
Yeah,
close.
so the margin hasn't been huge, right? The
No,
margin
we
there hasn't been
we
huge
had
on them.
one issue that we found, but it wasn't due to incorrect readings or
Sure.
programming malfunction. It was actually the resident or the homeowner just coincidentally installed an electric heater in his garage.
Yeah, that'll do it.
That drew a red flag on us saying, wait a minute, our AMI meter, our advanced meter, is indicating you're using more than what you did previously last month. So once we came to the conclusion that it was not our meters reading improper, we met with the resident, and he did indicate that. I forgot about that, and it's been on ever since. So.
Well, and I just, you know, I anticipate some of those questions coming up, number one, because, you know, sometimes it can be software or whatever as you're implementing it, but the other aspect is it's just new for the citizens, right, as well, right? I mean, if there's a new meter in there, they're obviously going to be really kind of focused on that, and they see those differences, so yeah. Makes sense.
Luckily, we have not had quite a lot of them. I mean, the ones we have had were very insignificant to what it was. So
that's good news. So one other question that I've got on that, just, you know, again, being aware of AMI metering, you know, based on where I've worked in the past and the advances, like you said, there's going to be a lot of continual changes with tools and software those will be powerful tools. What have we done historically? Because I guess I'm not aware of it, to kind of help prepare some of the citizens for some of those changes.
I believe we had multiple meetings in this type of setting.
Yeah, good.
Open public meetings also.
Right.
Too.
So people were aware they could come,
Yes.
they could ask questions, and
Yes.
okay, perfect, good.
But to that point, one thing that we are looking to do, that we've discussed and for future is when we switch to the time of use, was some type of calculator, or some type of,
That people can go and verify.
well, just
online,
mainly
whatever.
just understanding how that's gonna
Yeah.
switch, what is that gonna be? So that's something I think we're gonna have to really educate on, but that is definitely an agenda
It's a
item of
different
ours.
rate schedule for sure, yeah.
Yeah.
And also, too, I find it's worth noting, too, that we as a city, and Gary and Bruce and I discussed this along with the mayor and city council and stuff, there is no opt-out here. I mean, this is something that's, you know, this new AMI meter is going to be installed.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, kind of a thing.
Yeah.
Right, period. Yeah, period. So it's not, and I don't want that to come across as sounding harsh and that to those people that are maybe watching this or whatever, but it's one of those things that, you know, we as a city have collectively made the decision that this is the way that we're moving forward with this, and that's the way it is. So,
Well,
you know.
and it will be, because those will be the tools, right? that you
Absolutely.
leverage
Yeah,
going forward.
right, exactly.
Just along, I guess, from my perspective, as long as people are aware, right?
Right.
This
But I think as a model of consistency, though, and to be able to pull good metrics and to have good data and all that, I mean, it's,
I agree.
it's abundantly important to have it across the board where everybody's on the same playing field, so.
Proven elsewhere, right? I mean,
Right.
wherever it's been
Yeah,
adopted, so.
exactly. So,
Cool.
yeah.
And then Alan, maybe just for you, other Alan, we're gonna have to get a nickname or something. With a computer programming background, I would be interested to see maybe like what we can feed off of that.
Yeah.
Because I think that's where it's gonna really dive into how do we calculate that bill
I was
in
actually going to ask
comparison and
that.
something.
Do we know what kind of database is behind their application? Is it an Oracle? Is it a MySQL? Do you have any idea?
I would have to get the IT people involved with that to answer that question.
I'm thinking a whole other language here.
Well,
saw the look on
Ryan's
his
not
face.
here right now, so yeah. Ryan.
I just see the eyes glaze over, and it's like,
But I'm sure they can answer
data.
any questions
Yeah.
or whatever that you have. And
so that's what my background is in data. So I would actually love to dive into that and take a look and see if we can make stuff, even if it's just for a limited number of people to look at. We can.
Yeah, you could probably carve out some time with Ryan Judd, our IT
Yeah.
director for the city. I don't know if you know him or not, or I mean, give him a call, shoot him an email or something, and yeah,
You can
Ryan
educate
Judd.
me on
Yeah,
that.
yeah, but I can point you in the right direction
Yeah.
with him. But I think, and I'm speaking for him right now, but I think that he would be more than happy to sit down with any of us here, and go
Yeah.
over things and. Kind of
Yeah.
get off into the weeds with it and stuff and everything. I mean, he's been doing it for 20 years, so
Yeah.
I mean.
The
you know.
presentation last week actually looked like an application that I work on. So
Did you have a chance to look at last week or last month?
Yeah, I was here.
Oh, that's right,
I
you
was
were here.
here,
That's right, I
yeah.
forgot. Did you have a chance to look at that?
yeah,
Take a look at it. It's only an hour, so, but there was a lot of really, really, really good information
There
in
was.
last month's meeting. Yeah.
about the
so,
software and how it all works.
Yeah. Yep. Exactly. So.
One thing that new members might want to know is if two of us get together, we have to advertise it as a meeting.
Correct. Yeah.
Right.
that-
Yeah.
Very
So,
aware of
is
that.
it 3?
it's 3.
Oh, it's 3. That's right. Yeah.
Okay.
3 is considered a quorum.
Right.
Okay, so,
That's the
yeah,
same
we
way
have
as
to
with
be careful.
City Council.
So we can't have an Allen quorum quite yet. We need one more.
Yeah.
Right. So, but yeah, there's a lot of information out there, and I mean, there's a lot of city staff and electeds and appointeds that would be more than willing to sit down with you guys and to get you guys up to speed and stuff, and yeah, it's all good, so.
Yeah, I think that's been our experience. Is everybody here has been really helpful if we need questions, or even if we give them enough time to prep. If you want to know, like the financials or any of that stuff, Jordan's been really good at getting them to sitting down with them outside of here and going through all the numbers.
Right.
Yeah, well, and I think that's important. I mean, I know it's a sidebar, but, based on the conversation I had with the mayor and councilman here, I think it's a really important role for us, right? Not only for the citizens, right, and asking questions and focusing on transparency, but really being champions, right, of what we're trying to do.
Sure.
And making sure that we're, acting as kind of that voice and helping to support, whatever the message is that's going forward. So it's important to be able to understand, everything, the lay of the land, so.
Because you will get phone calls, I can assure you. I mean, and people will reach out to you via email and phone call or
Yeah.
whatever and stuff, and they're gonna expect you to have answers and to know things and stuff. And you might not have it right at your fingertips. You might have to, I mean, that's always the way it was with me on the planning commission for all those years. If I didn't have it right in front of me, I'll call you
You give
back
the
tomorrow,
You
or
give the
I can
answer.
get you the answer. I know who to talk to.
Yep.
Yeah. So, but yeah, moving forward though, that's where things are. So.
And I mean, if you do the math right, if we did roughly 20 meetings in the last 2 years and they're 1 hour, we're only asking just go watch 20 hours worth of, cancel your Netflix. That's all we're really asking. Just go watch
Put it up on
that.
your big screen.
So when we come back in with bloodshot eyes,
Yeah.
you'll know what's going on.
It's the power marathon.
I'm sure
We'll
my
be able
wife
to
would
tell
love
us
that.
Sure that
watch
she would love it. Absolutely. She'd be like, "My God, what are we doing?
like, what
here,
did you
man?
get me
What are you
into?"
doing?" Right. Exactly. I'm going to bed. Anyway.
So maybe,
So that's a wrap then, right? For the
Yeah, I got one more comment.
Sure.
Referring to the chairman has passed around. During this
Oh,
process
yeah,
of
yeah,
AMI
yeah.
installation, when we're out installing the meters, if we find a issue or a problem on a residential home or business or whatever it is, we came to the conclusion we need to get that issue fixed before we install the new meter. So with that conclusion, we came up with a somewhat red notice, just indicating that there's an issue with their service, meter base, whatever, that needs to be fixed for safety issues, fire and everything else. So when we started implementing, changing out the AMIs, changing out the meters to AMIs, we started hanging these red tags or urgent tags for the residents. And at that time period is during Christmas time, December. And so we felt like that's a little bit inconvenience at the time for them going out and reaching out and paying for somebody to come up and repair their service. So we have not, since then, we have not issued any more urgent tags until later on. During that time period, we had a couple issues that the crew or the person that was changing out the meter felt like it was an issue. As a department management portion of it, we felt like that was not an issue that should have been tagged with urgent notice. So we changed our approach on that. We're still thinking on how we plan on doing that. What our thoughts are right now is if a installer finds an issue, he'll just skip that meter, continue on with his work. Management, which is 3 of us, will go out and see if it does require an urgent tag, or if it's something that is not an issue.
Yeah, based on standards, right? The clear
Yes.
standards that you have.
Yeah.
I think that's important. Right?
And what we're looking for mainly is what we're looking for is meter bases pulling off homes,
Yep.
conduit separated from the meter base, those type of issues.
Yeah,
We are
safety and
not
refrigeration.
requiring them to upgrade their service. We are requiring them to repair what is existing, is what we're requiring. So that falls back on that flyer that was apparently presented to everybody here in Kaysville City, what I'm aware of.
I know what you're talking about.
I just want to state, we do not recommend, nor will we ever recommend a private company to do electrical services for our residents. We refer them to the phone book or the internet or whatever it is now. So I just want to make that very clear. We do not recommend. So that is, we disagree with that flyer. When we found out yesterday afternoon. We've already contacted that company, told them that we were not very pleased, and please do not send any more flyers.
Yeah.
I believe legal is looking into it right now. I don't know where it's going, where it will go to after that, but we were not very pleased. Some of the information they did indicate on there is not true.
Right. Yeah.
So I would recommend to all of you, if you do receive any concerns about that, if they do receive one, have them call us and we will tell them exactly what we saw and what we want repaired. Do not assume the electrician knows what we're looking at.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I guess that's
Do we have anything on the website that addresses this?
not yet. I talked to the city manager this morning. He's aware of it. I don't know what he plans on doing with it. I don't know.
I know that
To be
I
honest.
know that it has been discussed between the city manager and the city attorney and myself and the mayor. And I mean, there's a lot of folks that are, I mean, you're obviously aware of it. I mean, you know, what this company did was
Yeah.
yeah, in no way do we endorse one particular company to come in and do things, and I think that was a gross oversight by that company to do that. So, because of course it's going to create issues, you know, right? Oh, Kaysville City's endorsing so-and-so XYZ company. Well, no, we're not. They unilaterally did that and without our knowledge. So, you know, and they distributed it to 9,000 homes in Kaysville, you know, so, you know, but.
So just a little understanding for me, is it, on the gas side, the gas utility owns the service line and the meter. And I'm just curious, on our side, does the electric utility own the service and the meter, or how does it work?
We own the meter only. They own the service line going from our power source to the
To the
house.
home, okay.
They also own the meter base. So it is their responsibility to repair or replace if need be.
Who installs the line from the line side of the meter to the distribution system?
They do.
They do. Okay.
Builder, electrician as well. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
All right.
Okay. So I think the only other thought would be if maybe we wanted to be proactive on it and do maybe just instead of, you know, spinning it off on that, like that, maybe we just do like, what we're looking, maybe it's like a little article that just shows, here's a here's a meter base with it pulling off and getting it in the kind of like the sewer line thing that's been distributed, right? Like, just show a couple pictures of the meter bases pulling off so people can get prepared for it. Because it sounds like this is going to go away for a couple months anyway, you know, and you'll probably be dealing with these issues in September or October. But if we could get just, hey, we're going to be coming and installing this, it's worth getting that information out. And then just doing, you know, if you have these issues, you know, we could try to push them to here to discuss those issues and just be proactive. And I think this will just dissolve you know, this will go away, right? But if we just say, here's what we're looking for, do you have this? Come talk to us and walk through it.
Right.
Well, there's other issues too that just not specifically the meter base. I mean, it could be frayed wire on coax cable. It could be connections or something. So it's a variety of things that we feel like it's a safety issue on our part, safety to us, and also safety to the homeowner. So it could be quite a few issues.
And I'm just wondering, maybe we could just identify a few, say, hey, look, while we're collecting them, if we just snap a few pictures and say, hey, these are what we call unsafe systems.
Of ones that have defects and ones that don't and whatever and stuff,
Yeah.
You can post all that on the website and stuff.
Yeah.
You know, there's probably a certain percentage of homeowners that are like, they have absolutely no idea what the hell we're talking about.
They're not, they've never even probably. went
Yeah,
out and
they're
looked
like,
at their meter.
a what? What are you talking about?
There's homeowners that don't know the difference between gas and electric.
Well, yeah, there's that.
There's a difference.
Yeah, there's that too, right, I know, which is crazy.
So Gary, you'd mentioned, and I think rightly so, right, it makes sense when we do give an indication to one of the citizens, one of the homeowners, give you all a call. Is there a way, because you're doing good oversight on that, right, where instead of, you know, having, you know, somebody more junior kind of make the assessment, you're going out and you're double checking. Is there a way, as part of whatever you leave on the door hanger or whatever, that you actually write down a little bit of information so when they call in, they're already it's not so much a question of, I don't know what the problem is, but they've got a little bit of an assessment of what it might be when they call in, or are you doing that as part of it, or?
No,
Okay.
we haven't got that far yet in the
Okay.
process since we stopped doing it. Our thinking or our theory on this is we want to meet with the homeowner personally
Right.
and go out and actually show them. That's what we're kind of leaning towards.
That makes sense.
So that way,
to me.
so each home's different. So we can actually say, we'd like to set up an appointment. When can we meet with you? We'll show you exactly what we're talking about, not.
Much better customer
Yeah, I like
service.
that.
Yeah.
That's what we were, in the direction we were thinking of. But
Okay. Not to get too far afield here, but have we really seen, as a city, when you guys are doing these installations and that, have you ran into quite a few discrepancies or not really?
No.
Or have they been pretty far and few between?
4 so far.
That's
Yeah.
what I
And you
expected,
would
yeah.
probably expect that on an
That's what I
ongoing
expected,
basis.
yeah, yeah, so, all right,
And 2 were non-issues.
okay. So really, I
Technically
mean,
2,
not even a
yeah.
percentage point of
Yeah.
anything,
And
okay.
I believe when, I can't remember when we went and did a tour of Idaho or if it was Provo, but I thought they indicated to us they had maybe 30 customers out of their whole system that had an issue.
Oh, really?
So it's,
And that's a city
Provo's-
that's exponentially bigger than
Yes,
Kaysville.
yeah.
Right,
and so it's a very, very small number.
right.
Yeah, it is a small number, but I think even as large as Kaysville is, I think it's those customer service situations, right? They reflect on the utility, so we obviously want to, like you're saying, I think it's a great approach, right? To make sure that kind of, personalized, care is taken with that, right? And I think the citizens will respect that.
Yeah, yeah, I absolutely agree with you, Brent. I mean, they might be far and few between, but we still have to be prepared and have a plan in place when and if we have to deal with that, so.
And I'm sorry to interrupt, but I also believe though too, if we meet with the homeowners individually, and when they do hire an electrician to come out and fix it, they kind of are aware of what they need to be done from us.
Right.
Not having the
That's a good check and
company
balance,
Yeah.
isn't it? Yeah.
say, no, you need to do this, and
Right,
that's not
right,
what
right.
we're requiring, this is what we're requiring.
Right, only this,
Yes.
right, not all of this other
Yes.
stuff, right.
So that was our approach to.
Yeah.
And when we do the shutdown for the electrician to change out that meter base, is that a cost for the homeowner?
No.
Okay.
Okay,
'Cause I think that's worth mentioning, right? Because it's kind of like we're putting this meter in, obviously they have to get their stuff up to code, but I think it would also be good customer service to just say, we're gonna pull the meter, we'll disconnect the power, complimentary, right? Because we're forcing that. I don't want them to
For the
think.
disconnect, right? Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for the electrician to install it. Some of them don't, right? Some of them just do it hot, but hopefully they don't.
I hope not.
That is not anything new to us. We do that and
For
depending on
free.
the situation. So it's a customer service is what we try to implement on that. So
Okay.
we do it now
Okay.
During regular working hours.
during regular working hours.
Okay.
Yeah, right, yeah.
Okay.
After hours, it does cost them.
There should be, right, as part of our
Yes.
rates.
Okay.
All right,
Okay. So nothing for the call to public. Anything else that we wanted to discuss?
Eric, oh, he left. Let's say Eric Heisman's here, but.
Okay. I think if someone wanted to do a motion to end the meeting,
I'll move we adjourn.
I'll second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
You had the chance to use your gavel, Brock.
I know.
Oh, man, you missed out.
I had this out. I was like,
know,
there's
right?
no